I got started cooking because I was a very, very, very young bride with 2 children, and I had to feed my family. And, you know, it was a daunting task, and so I was like, what do I do? I thought, you know, picking up a to-go hamburger was the idea of good cuisine, even though I grew up in my grandmother's kitchens. And what I didn't realize until I started to cook, having to learn to cook, I taught myself how to cook out of a Junior League cookbook, a Mobile, Alabama Junior League cookbook. And what I realized is that I'd picked up a lot more in my grandmother's kitchens, and they are my culinary influences. And once I started cooking, I realized I loved it, and it became a hobby for me. And so I kept trying harder and harder recipes, and then I became, in the family, everybody has kind of their role of what they are, and I was the cook. And then in my group of friends, I loved entertaining and I loved cooking. And it just evolved as I wanted to learn more. But I never thought I wanted to be in the restaurant, so I started catering some and cooking on this yacht in New York and in the Caribbean. And I started catering and I cooked for private clients, and I was never gonna do a restaurant. But I moved back to Alabama from Los Angeles to help take care of my ailing parents. And I needed a job, and synchronistically, someone called and said, I've just bought this piece of property I'm giving to the estuary, and it's got a little dive on it. Would you like to run this restaurant? And I said, no. And then I thought about it because I was like, what am I gonna do here? I'm back in Fairhope, Alabama, which is charming, gorgeous, wonderful, but I needed a job. And I said yes, and then the rest is kind of history. I didn't start my restaurant until I was 46 years old. And it took a lot of perseverance, but I stuck to it. I'm also very collaborative. I tend to create family at work too. We're all in it together. I'm tough and I'm not the easiest, and I have very high expectations because I don't really ask people to do anything that I wouldn't do or haven't done. And I wish I was blessed with more patience, but I am not. And I'm sure those in my family and my work family wish I had more patience too. But I'm worth it. I like to say I'm worth it. You know, you make a choice, and I'm a cook, and I try to connect through food. So that's how I always tried to connect with my family, is through food. Once it became my occupation, it was a little bit of adjustment, but the family now all comes to Lulu's. And so I just like to make sure I make some personal connections.